my own face, and good luck with your make-believe stuff. They tried this at my daughter's grade school one time, and I said, no. I says, absolutely not. And I got some other parents, and we grabbed the priest on Sunday and said, no, we're sending our child to a Catholic school. You're not sending them somewhere else for the day.
All right, Mike,
Sorry,
with your white privilege, what would you do with the Powerball winnings, as if you don't have enough money already?
Well, first off, I take care of some of my friends at WIND. I buy a small radio TV station, UHF probably, and I would put Mike Scott and Amy on as my anchors.
You could buy Channel 32 now for a dime. Nobody watches their news.
I'll buy it. I would make Bruce Wolf my sportscaster.
Well, thanks for sportscast typing me. Okay.
Okay, that's very important. That would get at least 15 minutes of the show, sports.
There we go.
And I would, some of the people that aren't so attractive at WIND, I couldn't put them on a television station. So I would just buy them homes like across the street or next to Rahm Emanuel. People like Dan Croft, Joe Walsh.
He's a very good-looking man.
Well, Dan Croft and Joe Walsh would get the house on each side of Rahm Emanuel. I would put Sean from Elmwood Park across the street. I would have the house.
I'll be out in the field reporting.
Well, I would have the house across the alley from Rahm Emanuel.
No, Amy would be reporting on the house next to the one that you're doing the peeping Tom thing on.
No, I wouldn't be the peeping Tom. What I would do is I would sit in the garage with the door open, and that squad car behind Rahm Emanuel's house where the cop is always sleeping.
Yep.
I would bounce the ball off it like in The Great Escape, like Steve McQueen, just to keep him awake.
All right. Thanks, Mike, for calling.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Lately, it seems you're not feeling quite right, as if your body is working against you. Dr. Amy and Associates can help create a path to achieve optimal health. Experience personalized health care for your mind, body, and spirit at a practice that blends holistic and traditional medicine.
Hi, I'm Dr. Amy Harris-Nuon of Dr. Amy and Associates. As an integrative health and wellness center, we take a team approach to your health care, so we welcome the opportunity to work collaboratively with your current health care provider. We're different from today's typical standard of care because our focus is understanding the root cause of your health problem, not just treating the symptoms. It's a personalized approach that explores a wide range of proven treatments, and one that's focused on helping you achieve your health and wellness goals so you can achieve a full, happy, and satisfying life.
Call Dr. Amy and Associates to experience a whole-person integrative approach to health and wellness. 630-980-1400 or visit dramyandassociates.com. Dr. Amy and Associates, empowering people, changing lives.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up next on Chicago's Morning Answer, she wants to be your next Cook County State's Attorney. Donna Moore will be here. And Sean Penn, well, he breaks his silence. Did he realize his meeting with El Chapo was risky? Wait till you hear his answer. But first, let's go back into the newsroom and say good morning to, why am I blanking out?
Dave Stewart.
Dave Stewart, who's in for Mike Scott. Hi, Dave.
Thank you, and Bruce. Good morning. It's 4 below in Chicago, minus 23 at 7:31 on AM 560. The Answer. Clear and cold today. It's going to be 9 above is the high. In their final debate before the Iowa caucuses, Democrats Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders clashed on a number of issues, including gun control.
I have made it clear, based on Senator Sanders' own record, that he has voted with the NRA, with the gun lobby, numerous times. He voted against the Brady bill 5 times. He voted for what we call the Charleston loophole.
I think Secretary Clinton knows that what she says is very disingenuous. I have a D- voting record from the NRA. I was in 1988. There were 3 candidates running for Congress in the state of Vermont. I stood up to the gun lobby.
Sanders also continued to accuse the former Secretary of State of being too cozy with Wall Street. The United States, China, Pakistan are joining Afghan officials in talks aimed at ending nearly 15 years of war between Taliban insurgents and government forces backed by the U.S. The Taliban now controls more territory than they have since 2001. Archbishop Blase Supich urged hundreds of anti-abortion marchers Sunday to call for reforms on the federal stage. He told a rally at the Federal Plaza that abortion is a national issue in need of attention. Despite temperatures in the single digits, hundreds of anti-abortion advocates from Illinois and neighboring states turned out for the annual March for Life. A Chicago man's facing charges after he allegedly pointed a gun at an off-duty cop during a funeral procession last week. Police say Terrence Reed tried to break through that procession in his car when the officer honked his horn. Reed then allegedly pointed the gun at the officer and drove off. He was arrested a short time later, bail set Sunday at $200,000. And a group starting a campaign this week urging Illinois to approve more medical conditions that can be legally treated with marijuana. The group, called Cannabis Patient Advocacy Coalition, faces a February 1st deadline. In sports, the Blackhawks winning streak now at 11 after a 5-2 win over Montreal. The Bulls are in Detroit to take on the Pistons today, but Joakim Noah is taking on a knife. Shoulder surgery puts him out for the rest of the year. News, a service of Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
Mothers Against Drunk Driving supports victims of drunk driving, drug driving, and underage drinking at no charge. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org. That's MADD.org.
AM 560 News Time 7:33. How bad's the traffic? We'll have the answer in 2 minutes on AM 560, The Answer.
I believe in the Second Amendment. It's there written on the paper.
It's over there on that piece of paper.
The Joe Walsh Show.
The guy doesn't give a damn about the Second Amendment. He can't even say the word Constitution. He can't even say it's right there in the Bill of Rights. It's right there in the United States Constitution. This son of a gun can't even say that.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights starting at 5. Right after Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Cornerstone National Bank believes trust, service, and relationship is the foundation of a business banking partnership. Cornerstone National Bank and Trust Company, where you belong. Visit cornerstonenb.com. Member FDIC.
Hi, this is Shalom Klein of Get Down to Business, the show for small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. Powered by Tandem HR.
Big plans for your business mean you can't do it alone. Investing in your management team is a smart investment in your future. These 5 tips from Tandem HR will take your business to the next level. 1. Find good talent and keep them. This means paying them fair and square for what they bring to your team. 2. Recognize a job well done. Sharing in success builds morale and creates a culture that appreciates hard work. 3. Teach time management. Arm your team with tools that will help them get the most out of every day. 4. Invest in training and development. Great leaders have a constant willingness to learn. 5. Lead by example. Be professional, decisive, ethical, and supportive. The leadership skills you want to see in your team should be the same skills they see in the boss.
For more tips, advice, and stories of entrepreneurial successes, listen to Get Down to Business with me, Shalom Klein, heard Sunday evenings at 6. Your Business Minute of the Day is brought to you by Everett Wealth Solutions.
Hey, do you know my friend Laz Coulchar from Automated Systems, who sponsored and spoke at Freedom Summit and wowed the crowd with his story of escaping communism, coming to the U.S. and building a successful software and systems integration company? Here's Laz Coulchar to explain.
Thanks, Joe. I built my company to deliver solutions for industry's toughest automation challenges by giving clients customized solutions to make production lines, facilities, and plants run with less downtime, more speed, and fewer rejects. Our systems provide reliability and deep insight into our clients' manufacturing operations for companies of all sizes, from Fortune 500 life science to successful startups.
Thanks, Laz. If you even suspect that Automated Systems could benefit your company, then call him. There's no obligation. Call Laz at Automated Systems at 844-HIRE-ASI or visit AutomatedSYS.com. That's 844-HIRE-ASI.
At 7:36, let's check the roads from the ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thank you, David. Metro reports cancellations on the BNSF and Union Pacific West lines this morning. Metrorail.com has the particulars on the Kennedy Expressway outbound. It's slow central to Sayre, 23 minutes downtown to O'Hare. Inbound fine at 20. The Edens is delay-free, so is the Eisenhower. So northbound 53 and westbound 290 has slow traffic from Irving Park to Thorndale. The exit's backed up due to traffic signal problems on Thorndale at Park Avenue. Inbound Stevenson, it's a 1-minute delay from State Street to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan is fine. Northbound Tri-State slow Roosevelt to the Grand Avenue curve, where a collision has cleared out of the left lanes. Still some activity on the shoulders. The other tollways are fine. No problems to report in Northwest Indiana. Traffic is service of Lead Safe America. Do you live in an historic home? Are you renovating? Your children could be at risk of lead poisoning. It takes just a microscopic amount of lead dust to poison a child. Learn more at leadsafeamerica.org. traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
More of Chicago's Morning Answer next. Now your forecast, a service of aircomfort.com. 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. Partly sunny, brisk, very cold today, high of 9. Clear and very cold tonight, low 0. Occasional sunshine, not as cold tomorrow with a high of 18. Right now it's 4 below, wind chill minus 23. Next news update, 8 o'clock. Continuous coverage of the latest news, traffic, and weather at 560theanswer.com. Now, more of Chicago's Morning Answer with Amy and Bruce on AM 560 The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Illinois Rising, hosted by Dan Proft and the Illinois Policy Institute. Sunday afternoons at 3 on AM 560 The Answer.
If you're talking about it, I'll be talking about it. Dennis Prager here. Join me this morning at 11, right here on AM 560 The Answer.
Good morning. Welcome back. Thanks for making us a part of your Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. Amy Jacobson here. Bruce Wolf in for Dan Proft. And we're glad you're here. I saw you outside standing with the sign, "We'll work for food," and I felt so bad because
Thank you.
Wind chill factor is minus 22. It's cold outside.
Yeah, and I don't have any gloves right now because I gave them to somebody who was even poorer than I am.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Who did you give your
You,
gloves?
because you don't even have a heater in your car.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, if I drive really fast and brake often, heat will come out of the vents. It's true. It's just when I'm idle. You know, it's
But I feel for your feet because in your Flintstone mobile, you got to be getting frostbite when your feet are hitting the pavement.
Well, thank you. But I do put cardboard down on the floor pad just to get a little extra insulation, and it's not bad. Hey, real quickly, the other day I was stopped at the light around the corner here, and a homeless man. I was eating a sandwich, and he came up to me, and I said, "No, I don't have any money," and he's still standing there. I'm like, "What do you want?" He said, "Give me some of that sandwich." And I said, "Please, not to gimme. What do you say?" And he said, "Can I have some of your sandwich?" So I'm like, "All right," because I don't eat the top part of if I have a sandwich, I don't eat the top part of the bun. You know, because the
watching
carbs.
your weight?
No, I've always done that. That's how I don't like a lot of bread. So I gave him that, and he's like, "All right, thank you."
He wanted breads, but you gave him bread instead. I understand. By the way, when you knock on the console, could you please do it like Frank Underwood would?
What do you mean? How would he do it?
He just does it with. Well, I don't have a hard ring here.
Well,
it's just really tough. It's Frank Underwood. Yeah.
Okay, that's
You're
right.
Kind of
wussy.
Yeah,
Am I
a little
do
bit.
that? Oh,
Yeah, well, you're
okay.
so wussy. I mean, you're actually negotiating with a homeless man. I mean, you're such a bleeding heart. You're such a nice
I'm a
person.
bleeding. I am truly.
You're a
I am a
sucker.
bleeding heart
You're a
Republican.
sucker.
But who wants somebody who's running in the Democratic side for Cook County State's Attorney is Donna Moore. I have to tell you, the Democratic committeemen said that they were not going to back a candidate. Then, lo and behold, last Thursday morning, they joined forces and decided to endorse Kim Foxx in this heated race for her state's attorney. And how's that going to affect her campaign? With that, we go to Donna Moore, who is a candidate for Cook County State's Attorney. Good morning, Donna. How are you?
Hi, good morning, you guys. Glad you're staying warm.
Thank you, Donna. Don't touch my sandwich.
Okay, I
so
won't.
where were you when you found out that the Cook County or the Democratic committee members were going to support and endorse Kim Foxx?
I was actually still at the Democratic headquarters building where we had made our presentation.
Now, you know,
It happened in about 15 minutes.
So were you surprised at all by this, or did you see it coming?
Oh, no, I wasn't surprised. I saw it coming.
Now, I think this is apropos on this Martin Luther King Day. I mean, I'm getting this. You have to understand, I live near the Wisconsin border, and I have no dog in this hunt or whatever. But it's interesting to me. I'm reading this from the Laura Washington piece in the Sun-Times today. I assume it's accurate. Have you seen it today? It was yesterday. It was yesterday, I think. So what happened is apparently you have said that Kimberly Foxx doesn't have the felony trial experience to be the Cook County State's Attorney. She said she does, and she said, and I quote, "So the suggestion that somehow for someone like me to be able to be a chief of staff at this level somehow is not qualified, I think one would have to question the motivation for saying that about this particular other candidate. If I were someone else who had this level of experience, the suggestion would not be that I was not competent or qualified." In other words, she's playing the race card right here, according to Laura Washington anyway. It seems like that to me. And it's especially appropriate on this day to ask, are you a racist?
Yeah, I was really disappointed in Laura Washington's column. You know, Lady Justice wears a blindfold for a reason, and it was disappointing that she would play the race card in her column. I would ask these questions of any candidate that's running for Cook County State's Attorney. Ms. Fox was never in the felony trial division in the office. That's a fact. If anyone asked her, she would have to say she wasn't in the felony trial division. She was in juvenile court. And in juvenile court, she tried bench trials, not juries. And the only felony jury that I know that she tried, she wasn't the lead prosecutor. She was put on a team to try a particular case. This office is about trying felony juries in part. And the fact that you come in to lead 900 prosecutors without that experience is what I was commenting on.
Well,
and
she says, I've tried literally hundreds of cases, everything from murder to rape to drug possession and gun cases, hundreds of felony cases. That's what she says.
Well, in juvenile court, which is a starting point in the office, there are courtrooms divided by police district where you have misdemeanors and felony. But juvenile cases are treated a bit differently than the adult cases that go at 26 in California. Trying bench trials does not equate to trying jury trials. And that's the point I'm trying to make about her experience. She has never led an investigative team and put together a felony trial and put it before a jury.
All right. Well, with that, Donna Moore, what is your experience and how many cases have you litigated?
So I was in the office, as you know. I went to the felony trials division. I, too, have tried hundreds of bench trials. In the state's attorney's office, I probably tried about 15 juries, felony juries, and then I went on to the U.S. attorney's office, where, again, I was in the criminal division, and I tried more juries over there. I've argued in the appellate court, state Supreme Court, Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals. I was a supervisor in 2 different divisions in the office. So when I talk about experience, the reason that's important is because these are very tough times in our county, in our criminal justice system, and for the Cook County State's Attorney's Office. We have to rebuild the office from 7 years of failed leadership.
But according to Kimberly Fox, who's black, you're a racist.
Well, obviously, I disagree with her. You know, I look at my life history. If questioning somebody's qualifications makes Laura Washington call me that, then she's doing a disservice.
Well, Kimberly Fox is calling you that.
Well, then Kim Fox is doing a disservice as well. Maybe she doesn't want to focus the race on qualifications. But to me, this race is about qualifications, it's about leadership, and it's about independence.
So if you were Anita Alvarez, how would you have handled the Laquan McDonald tape and the other tapes? Because they seem to be popping up, like coming out of the woodworks every day now.
They do. Laquan McDonald is one in a long line of cases that have been mishandled by the office. And of the ones we know, we don't obviously know yet of all the other cases that may be called into question. But Laquan McDonald happened on October 20th, 2014. Ms. Alvarez says that she saw the videotape in the beginning weeks of November 2014. She herself has said the video was horrific and disturbing, and yet she waited 400 days to charge. And I would put out there that I'm not sure what evidence she had on day 400 that gave her probable cause to indict that she didn't have on day 20.
Should Rahm Emanuel resign?
That's not my call. You know, if I'm state's attorney, I will tell you this. Rahm Emanuel, the police superintendent, and IPRA have no say over whether or not there are criminal charges brought. And that's something that needs to change.
As a voter, would you want Rahm Emanuel to resign because he disenfranchised the voters of the city of Chicago by quashing that video?
Well, I need to have, and the federal, the U.S. Attorney's Office is investigating it. I want them to do the investigation and tell me what he knew, when he knew it, what he did or did not do. And then I'll make my decision, because as a voter, as a prosecutor, I want to have all the evidence before I make that very weighty decision.
Well, Donna, it seems to be different rules for different cases. I mean, you've got the Cedric Chatham video, which was released last Thursday. At first, they weren't going to release it, then they were. What should the protocol be when you have a question of possible police brutality and it's on tape? What should be the protocol? What would you do differently?
Amy, these are potentially criminal cases. These are criminal charges that have to be brought. And so what I would do differently is I want real-time evidence. I don't want to wait 2 years for the Independent Police Board to finish its investigation that basically comes up with a personnel decision. I want to have a small group of well-trained felony prosecutors who aren't in a courtroom and who aren't going back to a courtroom, who are the first responders to a scene of a police shooting. And I want real-time evidence coming over, because the most critical thing is to determine whether a crime was committed. And that's all the state's attorney's job. And right now, that's not happening. We're waiting for everybody else. So I would change the reporting. I would change how we get evidence. And then I take, as state's attorney, control of that evidence, not the city, not IPRA. And that's how it would change. And again, I would be able to determine, obviously, release of videos, release of certain evidence, so it doesn't hurt our case, but so the public has a right to know what happened.
All right. Thank you so much, Donna Moore, attorney, candidate for Cook County State's Attorney. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thanks, you guys.
And
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
A lot of sunshine, but as they say, don't let the sunshine fool you. Can we expect anything to change anytime soon?
Well, it's going to be sunny according to my iPhone app with the weather. Today, it's going to be a high of 9. It's 4 below right now. It is sunny. Tomorrow, it's going to be sunny, a high of 18, a low of 12. Wednesday, there are going to be snow showers according to my iPhone app. Now it's time for a check of traffic with Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Bruce and Amy. Northbound Tri-State, stop and go Roosevelt to the Grand Avenue curve, where a crash has moved out of the 3 left lanes, but both shoulders are still blocked. And that is backing up the eastbound Reagan Tollway. 88, it's stop and go from York to the Tri-State, and the ramp to northbound 294 is jammed. The other tollways are good. Northbound 53 had the Irving Park to Thorndale, where that exit is backed up. Traffic signal problems in Thorndale at Park Boulevard. Eden's clear. Kennedy fine inbound, but outbound stop and go Lawrence to Sayre. It's now a 5-minute delay. The Eisenhower is good. Stevenson inbound, about a 1-minute delay from State to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan, delay free. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
You did it. That's right. Because of your generosity and support of our annual Feed the Children campaign, we were able to reach our goal of feeding 18,000 children around Chicago this holiday season. Real families with real needs that you have helped to meet. And we especially want to thank the many business benefactors who've stepped up in a big way. When you hear their advertisements on this station in the coming months, we encourage you to support them as a way of saying thanks for their generosity. And just because we met our goal in 2015, that does not mean that the need has gone away. Hunger is still a real challenge. So please continue to support Feed the Children with a tax-deductible gift of any amount at any time. Just go to feedthechildren.org. And hey, thanks again from all of us here at AM 560, The Answer.
Everywhere you go, the threat looms. It follows you no matter what you do. The longer you avoid the IRS and the financial difficulties you're going through, the closer they get to you. John DeWatt of Thinking Outside the Box Law Firm can help you end the feeling of being hunted by the IRS. If you've avoided taxes or could benefit from the life-saving assistance of bankruptcy, it's time you call John DeWatt. This is an attorney who is willing to take on the federal government on your behalf. He has worked to discharge thousands of dollars in penalties, and he can help you settle your debts once and for all. Call 888-777-4193. Let the hunters become the hunted. Let John DeWatt of Thinking Outside the Box Law Firm. Deal with the IRS personally. Call John for your own relief plan. 888-777-4193 or online at thinkingoutsidetheboxlaw.com. That's thinkingoutsidetheboxlaw.com. Being trained for a medical emergency in your workplace can save a life.
Analyzing. Shock advised. Stay clear of patient. Press the flashing orange button now.
Thanks to technology and training from Lifesavers Health and Safety Training, tragedy can be avoided.
Shock delivered.
She's breathing.
Thanks to this well-trained employee, a life was saved. A well-trained workplace safety team can be the difference between life and death. In as little as 4 minutes, brain damage begins. It takes an average of 7 to 10 minutes for an emergency response team to arrive. Lifesavers Health and Safety Training prepares your team with American Red Cross certified CPR, first aid, and defibrillator classes. At your facility, you'll gain the skills and confidence necessary to respond to life-threatening situations. Call Lifesavers Health and Safety Training at 847-571-7981 or visit lifesavers-training.com. 847-571-7981.
AM 560, The Answer.
You know that Cedric Chatham video? I don't know if you saw it, but he carjacked a vehicle and then he went on a brief chase and police thought he had a weapon. It turned out to be a iPhone box. But after seeing that video, what was the big whoa about releasing it in the first place? It wasn't graphic. It wasn't, we want to warn you before you look at this video. It was a bunch of nothing. And it was inconclusive, I think. And I thought for them to go to such great lengths to protect that.
You're a cop
let
lover,
that out.
aren't you? You're a cop
No,
lover.
but you know what? And this is what I tell my girls that I'm coaching and what I tell my boys. Another example of when the police tell you to stop, stop. Drop whatever in your hand. It may be a weapon, it may not. It may be a cell phone box like this Cedric kid. Laquan McDonald had 18 minutes to get his you-know-what together, and he didn't do it.
That's
18 minutes.
That's a tough case
no,
to defend.
Cops are taught to unload their clips.
Not when he's on the ground.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
He was on PCP.
Look,
his body was flinching. He didn't know. He let his round go. I'm not holding that against him.
Okay.
I'm not holding it against the cop that shot Cedric Chatham. The only mistake that Betty Jones. Now that I feel sorry for that woman. We actually prayed for her in church yesterday because she all she did was open the door to police to help police, and she accidentally got shot in the neck fatally. Right. And that I feel sick about that. And I've been told by my sources that the cop who accidentally shot her feels awful. Anyway, so Donna Moore being called a racist this morning, Bruce.
She's a Cook County State's Attorney candidate, and on this Martin Luther King holiday, it's apropos to know that her opponent, Kimberly Fox, who is African-American, has basically called Donna Moore a racist because Donna Moore said that Kimberly Fox doesn't have enough experience.
Well, we had the Republican challenger on last week, and he said the same thing because it's true.
Yeah, but Republicans are racist.
Oh, yeah,
everybody knows that. It's not Democrats are never racist.
And with that, let's go to Sean Park quickly in Elmwood Park. Did I call him Sean Park?
Sean Park.
Sean Park from
That's
Elmwood.
His stage name.
Hey, Sean, how are you?
I'm good. After watching Hillary last night, is there anyone who doesn't totally sympathize with Bill? The only time you ever feel sympathetic for Bill is when Hillary's talking. But, Bruce, I want you to investigate what Hillary said was very important. She did a Jonathan Gruber last night. She admitted that the Affordable Care Act, a.k.a. Obamacare, is nothing but a door opening to the ultimate single-payer government insurance. I think this is big, and I think we need to pay attention. And the other thing is when Donald Trump calls somebody mean, a guy with an expiration date on wives, I find it hard to believe that nobody happens to mention that. Yeah.
Thanks, Sean.
And now, a moment of objectivism with your Ron Brook and the Ayn Rand Institute.
How does economic inequality emerge in a free society? From a bunch of win-win transactions. When J.K. Rowling wrote Harry Potter books, she created something of value. A bunch of great stories that millions of people willingly and happily paid $20 a piece for. Now, what happened to inequality as a result? It grew. Rowling became a billionaire, while her fans saw their income stay the same and their wealth go down by a tiny amount, $20. Inequality grew, but everyone was better off as a result. That's the way inequality arises under freedom, and that's why it should. For more, see my book with Don Watkins, Equal is Unfair, America's Misguided Fight Against Income Inequality. Visit ARIradio.com. From the Ayn Rand Institute, I'm Ron Brook.
This has been a moment of objectivism from the Ayn Rand Institute. To learn more, listen to The Yaron Brooks Show, Saturdays at 4 on AM 560, and visit ariradio.com.
Why are Ayn Rand's ideas so compelling? Her worldview, her philosophy, expressed dramatically in her novels Atlas Shrugged and The Fountainhead, embodies the ideals stated by the Founding Fathers in the Declaration of Independence and sets forth the requirements necessary to achieve a flourishing life. She called her philosophy objectivism and said it was a philosophy for living on Earth. Today, decades after her death, objectivism continues to stir debate and inspire passion for the spirit of individualism and the enduring American dream.
My name is Dr. Howard. I've recommended Balance of Nature for over 15 years because of the excellent results I see in my patients. Balance of Nature doesn't make any claims of treating or curing any particular disease, but I think the results speak for themselves.
When I started on this, I stopped my blood pressure and my cholesterol medicine. My blood pressure after a week since then has been normal, and my bad cholesterol dropped 27 points in 3 weeks, and my overall cholesterol dropped like 25 points. So I'm good. So I'm not taking anything.
The top 3 New Year's resolutions are health-related. Improve your odds by getting started early with our best price of the year. Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
On AM 560 The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to drill down and talk about the big ideas behind the big issues. That's where Upstream Ideas comes in. Upstream Ideas, online at upstream-ideas.com, in partnership with the Illinois Policy Institute, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted orthodoxies. In other words, Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now to upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to spur you on to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit more free, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, move over Joe Biden. We have someone who is really trying to find a cure for cancer. But first, let's go back into the newsroom and say hello to our good friend David Stewart, who's in this morning for Mike Scott. Good morning, David.
Good morning, Amy. Hello, Bruce. Here's some of the stories we are watching today. Chicago police are investigating 2 deaths on the Northwest Side. 3 Chicago museums today are offering free admission to city residents in honor of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And the Chicago Police Board has begun the process of looking for a new police superintendent. But now, an update from Fox News on AM 560 The Answer, WIND Chicago.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. 3 Americans are missing in Iraq believed kidnapped.
We have pretty strong indications of where this might have emanated from.
That's Secretary of State John Kerry. Fox's Jessica Gallagher has more live from our Middle East Bureau.
Dave, the U.S. Embassy says it's cooperating fully with Iraqi authorities to locate several Americans who have gone missing in Baghdad. Local media reporting 3 Americans were kidnapped by Islamic militants while they were en route to the airport. This is an Iraqi intelligence official claims the trio was taken from their interpreter's home in the Dora neighborhood of Baghdad and then taken to Sadr City. Dave.
Now, Jessica, 3 Americans released in a prisoner swap with Iran are now being checked out at a military hospital in Germany. A 4th, set free, decided to stay in Iran. An Ohio cop has been found murdered. Fox's Jeff Manasso on the case live.
Police in Danville, Ohio, just northeast of Columbus, say Officer Thomas Cottrell had gone missing late last night. And then after a search, his body was found near a municipal building just before midnight. His service weapon and police cruiser stolen. But investigators say a woman had called them earlier, reporting that her ex-boyfriend was armed and looking to kill an officer. 34-year-old Herschel Jones was captured hours later after a short foot chase. Dave?
Jeff, Democrats Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders neck and neck in Iowa, debated one last time before the caucuses in 2 weeks, sparring over gun control, the economy, and health care. Clinton says on NBC she'd leave Obamacare alone.
Pushing our country back into that kind of a contentious debate, I think, is the wrong direction.
We're not going to tear up the Affordable Care Act. I helped write it. But we are going to move on top of that to a Medicare for all system.
Sanders, Clinton, and Martin O'Malley will all be at a Martin Luther King Jr. march in South Carolina today. British Parliament will debate today a petition that got 500,000 signatures to ban Donald Trump from the UK over the Republicans' call to keep Muslim refugees from coming to America. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Good morning. It's 4 degrees below zero, minus 23 for the wind chill in Chicago at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. I'm David Stewart. Clear skies, very cold temperatures today, high only 9 above. Police investigating the deaths of 2 people found dead last night on the northwest side. An 18-year-old woman and a 50-year-old man were found dead in a first-floor apartment in the 3400 block of North Pulaski. It's not clear just how they died or what their relationship was. Meanwhile, a 39-year-old man was found shot to death in an alley in the Hermosa neighborhood yesterday. He was shot in the back. A weekend wind chill advisory is being extended into today throughout the Chicago area. Temperatures expected to be just in the single digits, and those wind chills will remain below zero. Martin Luther King Jr. Day in Chicago, and while most government offices are closed, 3 of the city's most popular museums are open, and they're free to Chicagoans. The Field Museum, the Adler Planetarium, and the Shedd Aquarium say Chicago residents will get in free, and they'll also be able to buy discounted passes for the additional exhibits and features. The Chicago Police Board has begun its review of the candidates to become the city's next police superintendent. Friday was the application deadline, and the board's president says there are candidates from inside and outside the police department, as well as some with military experience. The job is open, of course, because Gary McCarthy was fired in the wake of the Laquan McDonald police shooting. The DuPage County Sheriff's Office is looking for a Chicago man wanted for not paying child support. 55-year-old Anthony Russell owes more than $93,000 in back child support payments. His last known address was in the 1000 block of East 100th Street. In sports, the Blackhawks' winning streak now stands at 11 after their 5-2 win over the Canadiens yesterday. The Bulls in Detroit today. Joakim Noah, though, was out for the rest of the year because he needs shoulder surgery. The news and service of Jewel Osco. Hurry in for a sweet $3 instant savings at Jewel Osco. Just buy 6 participating products and you'll get $3 back. Mix, match, and save on Jewel breads, Signature Select pizzas, Snapple teas, and more. Time now for the AM 560 Business Beat, sponsored by Turnkey.pro. From the Fox Business Network, here's Lillian Wu.
From the Fox Business Network, stock futures in the red on Wall Street as China's Shanghai Composite sinks to its lowest level in more than 1 year. Concerns about the world's second largest economy and oil prices weighing on international stock markets. The dollar fell against the yen and the euro. The White House preparing to announce steps to strengthen and modernize the nation's coal program. This according to the Interior Department. The administration will reportedly announce a moratorium on any major new coal leases on federal land until it completes certain reviews. A deal they're drinking to. Brown-Forman selling its Southern Comfort and Tuaca liquor brands for $543 million to Sazerac, and they say they hit the Powerball jackpot. A Tennessee couple appearing on NBC's Today Show to show a ticket they say is worth 1/3 of the $1.6 billion jackpot. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Lillian Wu.
AM 560 news time is 8:05. Where are the cars? We'll have the answer in 2 minutes on AM 560, The Answer.
You don't win by accident.
It's the Dave Ramsey Show.
So this is your year to win. You don't get out of debt. You don't save your marriage by accident. You don't increase the quality of your marriage by accident. You don't raise great kids accidentally. These are intentional acts that you make choices on the variables in your environment and you form and control your life.
Make the most of your money and get out of debt. He's Dave Ramsey, tonight at 7 on AM 560. The Answer.
You don't have to be a retail giant or government agency to be the victim of a costly data breach. If you run a website and collect customer data, your small to mid-sized business is just as likely to be targeted by hackers. The Barracuda Web Application Firewall provides cost-effective instant security against automated and targeted attacks, making this WAF a must-have for your SMB. Reclaim your network. Try a Barracuda web app firewall risk-free at barracuda.com/WAF.
At GoDaddy, a domain name is the beginning of something awesome. Use it to create a website to promote your business. Open an online store to sell your products. Start a blog. Build your brand. You can even connect your domain to your LinkedIn or Facebook page. And GoDaddy customer support is always ready to help. What will you do with your domain name? Get a .com domain name for only $2.99 for the first year. Right now at GoDaddy.com. 2-year purchase required. Second year is $14.99.
Your locally owned Health Mart pharmacy is committed to helping you and your wallet stay healthy.
As a retired teacher, I look for ways to save money for the things I love, like traveling the world. Medicare plans change each year. Fortunately, my Health Mart pharmacist helped me understand my insurance saving me money on prescriptions. They can help you too.
Start saving for the things you love. Visit healthmart.com to find a locally owned Health Mart pharmacy near you. Health Mart, caring for you and about you.
At 8:07, a check of the roads from the ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, David. Northbound Tri-State Tollway traffic is stop and go from the Cermak Toll Plaza to Grand Avenue after an earlier crash. This has the eastbound Reagan Tollway backed up. It's slow from York to the Tri-State. Adams Tollway a little heavy now from Lee Street to the Tri-State. Veterans Memorial slow from Armory Trail to 290. And northbound 53 has delays from Irving Park to Thorndale. The exit ramp is backed up due to traffic signal problems at Thorndale and Park. And also because of that, eastbound 390 has delays from Plum Grove to 53. The Edens is fine. Kennedy inbound clear. Outbound there's a 5-minute delay Lawrence to Sayre. Eisenhower is good. Stevenson inbound a little heavy at Lakeshore Drive. Inbound Ryan on the ramp to the outbound Stevenson. Just had a report of a rollover truck crash. Otherwise, the Ryan looks good. Northwest Indiana all clear. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
More of Chicago's Morning Answer next, but now the forecast, a service of aircomfort.com. 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
A wind chill advisory in effect until noon today. Cold wave continuing through tomorrow. Partly sunny, brisk, and bitterly cold today with extreme cold that can be dangerous for outdoor activities, a high of just 8. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
2 below at the lakefront in Midway, 4 below at O'Hare with a wind chill minus 25. Next news, 8:30. Continuous coverage of the latest news, traffic, and weather at 560theanswer.com. Chicago's Morning Answer continues now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Aging Info Radio. Heard Sunday mornings at 9, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning. Welcome to your Monday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
Mayor Emanuel caters to the elite class, and he will only invite people who support what he does, which is closing 54 schools, police misconduct, suppressing evidence, covering up murder.
And so I do what I call experiential journalism. I go and I spend time in the company of another human being, which everyone is.
And I'm going to defend President Obama for taking on Wall Street, taking on the financial industry, and getting results.
I don't get personal speaking fees from Goldman Sachs. You've received over $600,000 in speaking fees from Goldman Sachs in 1 year.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning and welcome back to the Dan and Amy show, but sitting in for Dan Proft is the one and only Bruce Wolf. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Coming out of the cold and into the warm studio.
Was that Spicoli I heard before with experiential journalism? I mean, it sounded like what Jefferson was saying was, hey, we left this England place because it was bogus. So if we don't get some cool rules ourselves pronto, we'll just be bogus too. Get it? I mean, that's what he was doing with this. All journalism is experiential journalism. All right. That's all I have to say about the First Amendment today.
That's it? Well, I want Joe Biden to move over because we have someone who has seriously, truly tried to find a cure for cancer. You remember last week during the State of the Union when President Obama decided to make Joe Biden the cancer czar.
So tonight I'm announcing a new national effort to get it done. And because he's gone to the mat for all of us on so many issues over the past 40 years, I'm putting Joe in charge of mission control. for the loved ones we've all lost, for the families that we can still save. Let's make America the country that cures cancer once and for all. What do you say, Jen?
Sounds great, huh? But is it feasible and can it happen? And with that, we ask Barry Bodie. He is a professor at Northern Illinois University. We love Northern Illinois because we're the home of the Huskies here at AM 560, The Answer. Good morning, Professor Bodie. How are you?
Good morning, Amy. Glad to be with you.
What was your reaction when you heard about Joe Biden, our vice president, becoming the cancer cure?
Well, I think the whole notion of focusing on curing cancer is a good one. I mean, it's a battle we've been fighting for a long time. The notion of having Vice President Biden in charge of everything, I wasn't, I don't know how I felt about that, but I do like the guy. He lost his son to cancer, and so he very much has skin in the game, so to speak, and really does, like most of us, want to see an end to this collection of diseases.
But at the very least, would he help raise funds, money to create more research?
Oh, certainly. I think he can have an impact, through his advocacy and through his connections to raise more money to fight the diseases we call cancer. I don't think that there's anything bad that can come out of that. But yeah, you're right. I mean, the fact they called it a moonshot was fairly appropriate. Although we did make it to the moon eventually in 1969. This is going to be a much longer battle against, as I said, this collection of diseases we call cancer.
Professor Bodie, one of my favorite authors, Kevin Williamson in National Review, said Joe Biden is not going to cure cancer. Joe Biden couldn't find chlamydia backstage at a Motley Crue concert.
Oh, my God.
And here's the thing, and he goes into the detail about cancer. I mean, there's no one cancer, of course. There's different types of cancers, like spindle cell breast cancer isn't like Hodgkin's lymphoma. And so there are different types of cancers. And what cancers do, they're, they adapt, like an evolution. And so they learn to fight things, and they learn to survive. And isn't the best we can hope for, which is quite a bit, being able to manage cancer so that it's like, say, diabetes, and so we can have breakthroughs. But the idea that we're going to cure cancer, certainly not before the next president is, or that it's like a moonshot, is really inapposite.
Right. You're right, Bruce. I mean, that's the whole thing. And I think down to a man and a woman who are all working on this series of diseases, I think everybody's, if you pin down all the top cancer experts in the world, they would say, yes, we're going toward management, not cure. Let's be clear. We have not cured diabetes. We have not cured heart disease. What we do is we effectively manage them. The fact that cancer is so complex, and you mentioned spindle cell breast cancer versus Hodgkin's lymphoma. Even within the breast, there are multiple types of tumors, and after a course of treatment, tumors that re-arise in a breast cancer patient will be different from the tumors that were originally diagnosed. And as you stated, that's through their ability to adapt, something we call plasticity in the cancer research community. It's the ability of the cancer cells to change and adapt to the treatment. So what's really envisioned moving forward as we learn more and more about the intricate biology that makes cancers tick and kind of the side roads they take to get around therapies, it's going to be one of these situations where patients have to come back and see their physician periodically. If they have reemergent disease, they're going to look at that new set of tumors, and they're going to reassess what cocktail probably those patients will get. And I say cocktail because we're going to have to go after each cancer with a multi-pronged approach.
So, Professor Bodie, professor at Northern Illinois University, where do we stand generally in the fight against cancer?
We're at a really exciting time right now because, as you know, back when President Nixon signed the National Cancer Act in 1971, it's been 45 years now. This will be the 45th anniversary. we have made incredible strides in knowing how cancer cells grow and how they form and how they mutate. And we've converged that with these incredible advances in technology, in computing, in molecular biology. They're all kind of converging to a common endpoint now. You guys have probably heard this notion of having personalized medicine. That's exactly what it's going toward. And so right now we're very close, I'd say, with a few cancers to understanding them very well and searching for very targeted therapies to treat those cancers. And so I think we do live in an exciting time. We're not going to cure all cancers, obviously, but we are making advances. And where we stand right now is incredibly, it's an incredibly exciting time.
Now, it seems like cancer touches all of our lives in some form or fashion. Why is it so prevalent? I mean, is it the environment? Is it genetics? Why?
Great question. One of the reasons that cancer is so prevalent is that cancer is a disease of aging, and we're all living longer lives. Our parents' generation, when you look back, a lot of people died from complications of heart disease, diabetes, things like this that are very effectively managed. Through advances in medicine, we have extended people's lifespans, and as people are growing older, the incidence of cancer is increasing because your chance of getting cancer increases with each passing year. I know that's an encouraging thought, right?
Yeah, Bruce feels a lot better about himself.
Fortunately, I won the Powerball, so I'm going to live like there's no tomorrow. So you're okay. You're okay,
thank
Professor
you so much,
Bodie.
Professor Barry Brody, for your time this morning, and we'll have you back soon.
Okay. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. Professor Barry Brody, professor at Northern Illinois University, our favorite school because we're home of the Huskies. He joined us on our Turnkey.Pro answer line.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Oh, to say, baby, it's cold outside. Brucey, it's freezing out. Minus 22 degrees right now if you factor in the wind chill.
Yes, that is quite cold. Minus 22. I'm just dialing up my iPhone app on the weather here. And can I write this off, this app? It was a free app.
Sure,
so
Bruce.
I can write it off.
Do what you need to do.
The temperature right now is minus 2. We're going to have a high of 9. And it's sunny, though. Tomorrow it's going to be sunny, high of 18, a low of 12. Wednesday, snow showers, 25 of a high, a low of 16. Now it's time for a check traffic with Jim Telemonte.
Thank you, Bruce. Good morning. Good morning, Amy. On the Kennedy outbound, traffic is slow. Lawrence to Sayre, about a 5-minute delay. It's fine inbound. Edens is clear, has been all morning. Eisenhower outbound, a little heavy on the extension from Mill to 355. We're seeing delays on northbound 53 in pockets, really from Army Trail up to Thorndale. Traffic lights are malfunctioning at Thorndale and Park Boulevard. That's causing delays on the outbound Ike, northbound 53, and eastbound 390. The Elgin O'Hare is slow from Plum Grove to that point on Thorndale. Northbound Tri-State, there are delays from the Cermak Toll to the Grand Avenue curve. The crash has the shoulders blocked. That has the Reagan Tollway backed up from York to the Tri-State. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Valentine's Day is less than a month away, so have you started thinking about what to get that special someone in your life? Flowers, chocolate? Don't do that. Instead, give the gift of sunshine. Escape this bitter Arctic cold, snowy Chicago weather and escape to Cabo with us, Dan and Amy. We're heading to Los Cabos, Mexico, April 2nd through the 9th, Saturday to Saturday. And our trip is presented by Dermatology and Plastic Surgery Associates. We'll be staying at the beautiful Secrets Puerto Los Cabos Golf and Spa Resort. It's an adults-only, all-inclusive, all-suites resort that opened in December of 2013. It has 8 restaurants, 4 bars, 24 hours a day room service. The resort has 2 gorgeous sparkling pools and access to 3 miles of pristine beaches. Adjacent to the resort, 2 9-hole golf courses designed by Jack Nicklaus and Greg Norman. So join us in Cabo. Get more information and book your trip today. Do it today. Visit 560theanswer.com. Keyword escape. The price point that Apple Vacations has secured for us is incredible and exclusive only to us. So don't miss out. The last day to purchase this trip is January 29th. So visit 560theanswer.com. Keyword escape. Escape from this cold. And also, download the AM560 mobile app, the AM560 The Answer mobile app, to register for a chance to win 2 all-expense-paid trips to Secrets Los Cabos. All you have to do is click on the Enter to Win banner to register, and the contest ends January 29th at 9 a.m.
The most recent U.S. Supreme Court decision on the Affordable Care Act made one thing certain. We will all have to deal with this ever-changing law until at least 2017. If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Obamacare, then you need a local expert on your side. That's right, your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 20-year licensed broker who's been educating AM 560 listeners on the Affordable Care Act for the last 5 years.
Thanks, Dan. If you have a pre-existing condition, a canceled plan, or your premium increased, now's the time to get covered. 2016 open enrollment begins on November 1st and ends on January 31st. During this 90-day window, you cannot be denied coverage. Depending on your income, you may find a more affordable plan. The new healthcare law is very complicated and you do need guidance. It costs you nothing to use a broker, so why not tap into my expertise?
Thanks, Steve. How can our listeners get in touch with you?
They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
Imagine your life 5 years from now. Are you on the path you want to be on? It's time to take control of your future by getting a world-class education from one of the nation's top universities. Arizona State University is now offering over 100 top-tier degree programs 100% online. It's the exact same degree our on-campus students receive, but you can learn from anywhere in the country on your own schedule. For information, call 1-800-577-6026. Learn from ASU's world-renowned faculty and use ASU's global recognition to improve your visibility, professional network, and gain real-world experience you can start using today. The Wall Street Journal ranked ASU 5th in the nation for producing the best qualified graduates. Now discover how ASU Online can stand out on your resume and help separate you from the competition. We're ready to help you learn to thrive in your life, in your career, and beyond. To learn more about ASU online degrees, call 1-800-577-6026. That's 1-800-577-6026.
AM 560, The Answer.
I like the way you think. Bruce Wolf sitting in for Dan Proft. I'm Amy Jacobson, and we watched the Democratic debate last night so that you didn't have to. Of course, Hillary Clinton defending her corporate contributions and defending Obama's record, and Bernie Sanders, talking about his votes on guns. And do you know, Bruce, 2 hours before this debate, 2 hours, he finally wrote down his proposal for health care. And pretty much it's supporting Obamacare, but expanding Obamacare.
Sure, and taxing the middle class, because the only way you can have middle class entitlements is by taxing the middle class. So, of course, you got to do it. He finally found that out. He's kind of honest that way about it. What I love is the fake fight between Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. And, of course, Hillary is fostering a new generation of liars. She sent Chelsea out to lie about Bernie Sanders last week, as if Bernie Sanders is against Obamacare. As you mentioned, all he wants to do is expand it. He wants universal health care. He wants single payer. That's what Hillary's wanted all along. And they were yelling at each other as if there's a distinction between the two on it. Nobody's buying the distinction. And I can't wait to see how loudly they yell when there's actually a difference in policy between the two. But this just shows that Hillary is unnerved because Bernie Sanders is catching up to her.
Oh, he's nipping at her heels, and she knows it, and she's scared. So she's sharpening her attacks against him.
He voted to let guns go onto Amtrak, guns go into national parks. He voted against doing research to figure out how we can save lives.
And of course, Bernie Sanders kept pestering her about her speaking fees and Goldman Sachs.
I don't get personal speaking fees from Goldman Sachs. You've received over $600,000 in speaking fees from Goldman Sachs in 1 year.
You know, had I been Lester Holt or Andrea Mitchell up there, since they were talking about health care, I would have... you do the Bernie Sanders wheeze very well. I would have asked Senator Sanders, do you agree with Zeke Emanuel, Rahm's brother, who was instrumental in forming Obamacare, that we should all die at age 75? That's a life well lived.
Yes. 75 years is enough time for you. Now, Martin O'Malley, he's 72. Martin O'Malley was merely an afterthought, but this is the only time that he was able to speak. You ready?
Yes.
No, I mean, are you really ready, Bruce?
Mm-hmm.
You raised a lot of money on Wall Street when you were the head of the Democratic Governors Association.
Yeah, but I haven't gotten a penny this year, so somebody please go on to MartinO'Malley.com. Go on to MartinO'Malley.com. Send me your checks. They're not giving me zero.
Oh, poor Martin O'Malley. My favorite part of the evening was the Bill Clinton legacy question. And Andrea Mitchell asked it, and then Bernie Sanders flat out lied to us, and I have proof.
You called Bill Clinton's past transgressions, quote, totally disgraceful and unacceptable. Senator, do you regret saying that?
I was asked a question. You know, one of the things, Andrea, and that question annoys me. Yes, his behavior was deplorable. Have I ever once said a word about that issue? No, I have not. I'm going to debate Secretary Clinton, Governor O'Malley, on the issues facing the American people, not Bill Clinton's personal behavior.
That's a bold-faced lie, because last week he did attack Bill Clinton.
What Bill Clinton did, I think we can all acknowledge, was totally disgraceful and unacceptable.
But Hillary Clinton's people said, wait, Bernie, we agreed not to verbally bash one another. We agreed not to attack each other personally and about our domestic issues. And John Podesta ran to Andrea Mitchell, ran to NBC Nightly News to defend his client, Hillary Clinton.
I hope he's not going there. He said that he was going to run a positive campaign, that he wasn't going to go in for personal attacks.
You know, look, I mean, Hillary Clinton plays the woman card, and then Trump was so smart about it because he said, you can't play the woman card. You can't do that and send Bill Clinton out on the campaign trail because Bill Clinton is a rapist. You just can't do that. And she's backed down on that. And, you know, I mean, I just wish that they had asked, they asked about the Iran deal. And, of course, they all, President Obama's great about it. It's terrific. I wish, if Lester Holt weren't a fungible turkey for the Democratic Party, if he had asked, for example, the president has talked about Iran's key nuclear facilities being inspected. The operative term is key because, as Tom Rogan says in National Review, President Obama is tacitly accepting Iran's obstruction of non-key facility inspections. Iran will simply use military sites for nuclear weaponization research and then claim those facilities are off limits or clean them up before inspections. Bill Clinton praised the North Korea deal. This is a sham. It's a mockery of a sham. And, of course, you've got the Democrats falling in line on this. And no challenge from the NBC from the NBC shills because Lester Holt is just an empty suit.
And they didn't ask either about her server or her emails or this new information that Fox reported that the investigation is expanded. And Jake Tapper squeezed this one question in during his interview with her before the debate.
We're out of time. I just have one last question for you. In terms of the status of the FBI investigation into your private email server, have you been interviewed by the FBI yet?
No.
You haven't. All right, Secretary Clinton, thanks so much. Really appreciate your time. Good luck at the debate tonight.
It was a choice.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, Pete, 20 more pallets backing up right now. Come over here with the forklift. Don't bring them in here, man. We've got no place to put them, and we're officially out of room, buddy.
JRC Warehousing.
Well, we're getting 20 pallets dumped right here, whether we like it or not. Well, unless they get stored in your living room, I don't know what to tell you.
JRC Warehousing.
It says right here in our inventory system that we have room for 50. And you're going to trust the control system that's older than my great-grandparents?
JRC Warehousing.
We can't be the only place that's run a storage room before, man. Think. Yeah, how about I go buy one of those magic wands for you? Good luck.
JRC Warehousing offers complete solutions for your warehouse and trucking demands. No magic wands needed. Trucking requirements? No problem. Warehouse storage? No problem. Pull a rabbit out of your hat by calling JRC Warehousing for a no-obligation needs analysis and quote. 847-329-5030. That's 847-329-5030. Or visit jrcwarehousing.com.
Looking to secure financing on a new home or refinance your existing home, then you need to do what I did and call David Hochberg. Carol called to consolidate her mortgage, credit card debt, and student loans because her husband, Sam, listens to David's show. Carol and Sam lived on credit cards to feed their family and cover expenses when Sam lost his job. Sound familiar? Well, David informed Carol consolidating her debt into a 15-year fixed loan would reduce her payment over $1,000 a month. Carol talked it over with Sam, and this is a direct quote. If David said to do it, then let's do it. Needless to say, David is helping Carol and Sam recalibrate their debt and save over $12,000 a year. If you've accumulated debt because of a job loss and you'd like David's help recalibrating your debt, give him a call now at 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. David's helped a lot of people, thousands of AM560 listeners, and he'll help you, but you have to call 312-751-1333 or visit www.am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage is an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee. Excuse me, it's easy for you to say. 4358 RMLA NMLS 19186.
AM560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, other big news story, Iran nuclear agreement and the prisoner swap, including one who's from Wheaton Central High School. We'll begin there with Tim Carney, senior political columnist from the Washington Examiner. But first, let's go back into the newsroom and say hello to David Stewart, who's in for Mike Scott.
Thanks, Amy. Thanks, Bruce. Good morning. It's -4 at O'Hare, -25 the wind chill. It's 8:32 on AM 560, The Answer. In their final debate before the Iowa caucuses, Democrats Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders took the gloves off last night, clashing on several subjects, including health care. Clinton accused Sanders of frequently changing his position on health care reform and insisted the nation must build on the success of the Affordable Care Act.
And I certainly respect Senator Sanders' intentions, but when you're talking about health care, the details really matter, and therefore we have been raising questions about the 9 bills that he introduced over 20 years.
The vision from FDR and Harry Truman was health care for all people as a right in a cost-effective way. We're not going to tear up the Affordable Care Act. I helped write it, but we are going to move on top of that to a Medicare for all system.
Sanders also continued to accuse the former Secretary of State of being too cozy with Wall Street. Archbishop Blaise Cupich urged hundreds of anti-abortion marchers Sunday here in Chicago to call for reforms on the federal stage. He told a rally at Federal Plaza that abortion is a national issue in need of attention. Police in Gary say 2 women were killed within a block of each other Sunday. The women, 186, 163, were both found with ligature marks on their necks, and their deaths have been ruled homicides. Police in Ohio say an officer is dead after a man who's now in custody threatened to kill a cop. Danville police officer Thomas Cottrell was killed late last night. County dispatchers reported getting a call from a woman who said her ex-boyfriend had guns and was looking to kill an officer. A possible scandal is upstaging today's start of tennis's Australian Open. An investigation by BuzzFeed News and the BBC unveiled Sunday claims that tennis authorities have ignored match fixing since 2008. In sports, the Blackhawks' winning streak stands at 11 after a 5-2 win over Montreal. The Bulls in Detroit today. The news and service of Lead Safe America. Do you live in an historic home? Are you renovating? Your children could be at risk of lead poisoning. It takes just a microscopic amount of lead dust to poison a child. You can learn more at leadsafeamerica.org. AM 560 News Time 8:34. How bad's the traffic? We'll have that answer in 2 minutes on AM 560, The Answer.
Mike Gallagher believes the president's agenda is easy to see.
The biggest clue as to what's in his heart is when he says, too many people are killed by guns in America. And his first example, suicides. Well, I don't know how he proposes to stop suicidal people from shooting themselves, except to take their guns away from them. That's what he wants to do.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
LiveWatch helps you connect and respond up to 10 times faster in an emergency. LiveWatch has no long-term contracts. Save up to 50% off home security. Call 855-LiveWatch or visit livewatch.com.
I've been taking it, and I'm actually feeling better. I know that I'm not coughing anymore, and I was coughing all the time.
I notice my body feels better.
I have diabetes. I had my blood work done, and I had really good numbers.
I want to thank you for your product and all that. It's been great.
I got my kids taking them now. I got my parents taking them, my brothers, my best friends. I got everybody on them.
I love the product, and I love Dr. Howard. I trust him. I feel safe. I think his product is superb. I'm going to continue with it.
Get started early on your New Year's resolution with our best price of the year. Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
8:36. Let's check the roads from the ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thank you, David. On the Ryan Expressway inbound, the ramp to the outbound Stevenson is blocked. There's a rollover truck there. Aside from that, the Ryan is clear, and the Stevenson is delay-free as well. Kennedy has an outbound delay from Lawrence to Sayre. 25 minutes downtown to O'Hare. Inbound, it's fine at 20. Edens is clear. Eisenhower, a little heavy outbound Addison to Mill. The inbound side is good. 557, Bishop Ford just fine. Northbound Tri-State, stop and go from the Cermak Toll to the Grand Avenue curve after an earlier crash. Eastbound 390, a little heavy approaching 53, and northbound 53, a little heavy approaching Thorndale on the rails. Metra has cancellations on the BNSF and Union Pacific West lines. The electric line has some delays due to wire problems. CTA Blue Line trains are standing at UIC Holsted due to some signal issues. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
More of Chicago's Morning Answers next, but now that forecast, a service of AirComfort.com. 80 years of quality mechanical solutions for your business. Partly sunny, brisk, very cold today, the high 9 above. Clear and cold tonight, low 0. Tomorrow, look for occasional sunshine, not quite as cold with a high of 18. Right now, it's 4 below at O'Hare with a wind chill minus 25. Next news, 9 o'clock. Continuous coverage of the latest news, traffic, and weather at 560theanswer.com. Now more of Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Turnkey IT, giving you the freedom to focus on your business while they handle the technical stuff. Turnkey IT.
Hey, before you read about it on Facebook or Twitter or hear about it from your friends, find out what today's big stories really mean with me, Sean Hannity, today at 2, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Gotta keep rolling. Because it's cold out there. If we stop, we're going to have to go to the hospital with frostbite. Amy Jacobson here, Bruce Wolf, the Brewster's in the house, filling in for Dan Proft, who, well, we're not sure where he is. But he's not here.
Crying over the Steelers' loss yesterday.
Licking his wounds, like I like to say. Yeah, I was really surprised they lost that game. I expected more from Ben Roethlisberger, the fighter.
The
pervert, as you called him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're so bad. But one group that's still fighting, and it's not over yet, folks, is Donald Trump and Ted Cruz. Woo-hoo-hoo. Donald Trump just went full throttle with George Stephanopoulos yesterday on This Week with George Stephanopoulos.
The truth is, he's a nasty guy. He was so nice to me. I mean, I knew it. I was watching. I kept saying, come on, Ted, let's go, kid. But he's a nasty guy. Nobody likes him. Nobody in Congress likes him. Nobody likes him anywhere once they get to know him. He's a very, he's got an edge that's not good. You can't make deals with people like that, and it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing for the country. Very nasty guy.
Actually, so is Ted Cruz nasty? 312-642-5600. No, that's our turnkey.pro answer line. You can also send us a text message on our text line, turnkey.pro text line, 64636. Type in DA, and you can also call or email us directly from the AM 560 mobile app on your smartphone.
I think the debates have actually given Ted Cruz an opportunity to show that, I mean, he may be mean in private, but it's all, the public persona. That, he's flexible. For example, he came across as a rigid ideologue when he was in the Senate. I mean, he wanted to take down the entire government, shut down the government. But now, thanks to Marco Rubio's cross-examination showing the 11 flip-flops in 10 seconds time, kudos to Marco Rubio for doing that. Cruz comes across as being malleable. I mean, he could be the kind of flip-flopper that America usually wants as president. He's not inflexible. And even just talking to Trump, and the debate that they've been engaged in, he's had a chance to use some of his humor and whatever. Now, Trump may be right about Cruz, the private person, that he's a nasty man, but it's all, how the public perceives you. And I think Ted Cruz has been humanized to some extent as far as I'm concerned.
No, I think he put himself in a very vulnerable position, especially when he went after New York values.
The values in New York City are socially liberal or pro-abortion or pro-gay marriage. His explanation, he said, look, I'm from New York. That's what we believe in New York. Those aren't Iowa values, but this is what we believe in New York.
Well, a lot of people in New York, including the mayor and New Yorkers in general, do not like Ted Cruz, and they want a real apology. Because listen to this. This is his apology, non-apology.
I apologize to the millions of New Yorkers who've been let down by liberal politicians in that state. I apologize to the hardworking men and women of the state of New York who've been denied jobs because Governor Cuomo won't allow fracking, even though there have been many high-paying jobs just south in Pennsylvania. New Yorkers are denied the ability to provide for their families. I apologize to all the pro-life and pro-marriage and pro-Second Amendment New Yorkers who were told by Governor Cuomo that they have no place in New York because that's not who New Yorkers are. I apologize to all the small businesses who've been driven out of New York City by crushing taxes and regulations.
He's got a kind of that reedy, you take away the Texas accent, that reedy Johnny Carson kind of voice. How big is my apology? My apology is so big that I'm apologizing to New Yorkers for having to live with Governor Cuomo.
And Mayor de Blasio, who really wants an apology.
I'm disgusted at the insult that Ted Cruz threw at this city.
Can I say what you will about Donald Trump, when he invoked the name of William F. Buckley, our patron saint, you know that Dan actually had dinner with William F. Buckley at Northwestern?
You
I mean,
two are
Dan,
so
I envy Dan
weird
for
about
that.
This bromance with William Buckley.
I envy him for that and for getting to work with you every day. Not necessarily in that order. But here's the thing. But when he invoked William F. Buckley,
yes,
it was like I went weepy.
Oh, you
I
cried.
will weep.
You cried right here.
So conservatives actually do come out of Manhattan, including William F. Buckley and others, just so you understand. And just so, if I could, because he insulted a lot of people, I've had more calls on that statement.
Well, you know what he said. He went on to say something very
9/11 was a good thing. That was a good thing that New York
He said
did.
something very eloquent about the people of New York.
Yeah.
Saying, they handled it beautifully. And they did.
Sure.
They did. And this is the only time ever that Hillary Clinton supports Donald Trump. She tweeted out, just this once, Trump is right.
Oh, thank you.
New Yorkers value hard work, diversity, tolerance, resilience, and building better lives for our families.
Nobody is more tolerant than Hillary Clinton. She tolerates being married to a rapist.
Oh,
and how tolerant can you get?
So she went out and supported Donald Trump over Ted Cruz. And Ted Cruz, Donald Trump didn't stop tweeting. I mean, he constantly tweeted, bashing Cruz to the point where Cruz had to say something.
I think in terms of a commander-in-chief, we ought to have someone who isn't springing out of bed to tweet.
You know what I always say? Tweet me like I want to be tweeted. Yeah. To the phone lines we go. Let's say good morning to Tom, who joins us from beautiful Schaumburg. Good morning, Tom. How are you?
Good morning, and I'm just fine. New Yorkers also support having somebody else pay their taxes because at last count, over 8 million people in New York, the top 1%, pay more than 50% of all the taxes collected by that city. And if those 80,000 people decide to move out of New York, I don't know what the rest of them are going to do because they're not going to be able to make it. And on Donald Trump...
Check your white privilege at the door.
On Donald Trump, God bless him. I can't wait for him to dig into Hillary's past during this upcoming campaign. If you think he's hard on Ted Cruz, wait till we see what he does to Hillary.
Let me ask you, Hillary, is Bill going to live with you? That's a good question. In the White House?
Yeah, no, he's living in a penthouse in the top of his presidential library in Little Rock with a hottie blonde. Greg from LaGrange. Good morning, Greg. How are you?
Hi, how are you doing?
Good. What's up?
Save this whole New York Bill de Blasio I'm offended crap. Because that guy has done more to offend the New York Police Department and anybody's sensibilities than any politician in the last few years. The other thing is, maybe William F. Buckley was born in New York or came from New York, but his power base was in Connecticut. So, Donald Trump, who I don't have too much of a problem with other than the fact that he's taken off on Ted Cruz, should just lighten up a little bit about people hating him in the Senate, because Mitch McConnell hating you is a good thing. Yeah, the other thing is, if you really look at it, you got to say that this whole contrived notion of Trump being this enlightening figure and throwing this whole New York heap of guilt on Ted Cruz isn't what hurts Cruz. What hurts Cruz I think the thing that hurts Cruz is the Goldman Sachs connection with his wife. I think that kind of hurts him more than the New York comment. I really believe that.
Well, what hurts him too is he did not.
What hurts him is that he's a conservative.
The $1 million that he borrowed from Goldman Sachs when he ran for Senate in
These
Texas.
are peripheral issues. What hurts him is he's a conservative.
All right, let's go to John. Thanks, Greg, for the phone call. John joins us from Carroll Stream. Good morning, John.
Hi, Amy. I don't know Ted Cruz as a person, and sometimes I don't like saying anything about people like that when I don't really know him. But I really do think that Trump is onto something when he says that he's a nasty person, in the sense that largely it was agreed when he held up the bills last year with the filibuster. Everyone hated him, and we right now we have a president that everyone already hates, so we don't need more of that.
Yeah, but no, here's the thing, and Trump is getting the support of a lot of people who hate Washington insiders. Cruz is trying to draft on that. He's trying to say that he's an outsider as well. So I don't think people hate Cruz for going up against the establishment. But I think his problem is he's going to be portrayed as a conservative, which he is, whereas Donald Trump is all over the place.
Well, one thing I think Ted Cruz does a lot of pontification, but what I'd like to say is I'd like to thank AM 560 for always giving Donald Trump a fair shot, no matter how extravagant or peculiar he can be. Sometimes you always kind of think I portray him fairly, and I appreciate that.
Well, thanks, John. We appreciate it. And here's another reason why Ted Cruz was chummy with Donald Trump at the beginning.
Look, it's not complicated. Number one, I like Donald.
Yeah.
But number two, everywhere Donald goes, he brings 100 television cameras with him.
Ah, there you go.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Plenty of sunshine, but it's dangerously cold out there. How bad is it going to get, Bruce?
Well, I'll tell you, Amy. It is. How cold is it going to get? Well, I don't do a Ted Cruz, Johnny Carson. It is going to be a high of 11, EO11, as Bob Elson used to say today. It was a -4 last I look. It's going to be sunny tomorrow, a high of 20, low of 15. And on Wednesday, we're going to have some snow showers. Now it's time for a check of traffic with Jim Telemonte.
Thank you, Bruce and Amy. Ryan inbound. The ramp to the outbound Stevenson is blocked. There's a rollover truck there. IDOT is at the scene. The Ryan itself does not have any significant delays. It's just the closure of that ramp to southbound 55. And the Stevenson is also good. No delays to report on the Edens. Kennedy outbound. It's a 5-minute delay, Lawrence to Sayre. Inbound clear. The Eisenhower is now fine. I-57, Bishop Ford fine. Same goes for Lakeshore Drive. Northbound Tri-State stop and go from the Cermak Toll Plaza to the Grand Avenue curve, where a crash has both shoulders blocked. The other tollways are fine. No delays to report in Northwest Indiana. There are some delays on the CTA Blue Line with some issues at UIC Holstead near that station. Metra has had some cancellations and delays this morning on several lines. Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
Everywhere you go, the threat looms. It follows you no matter what you do. The longer you avoid the IRS and the financial difficulties you're going through, the faster they'll begin to close in on you. Take control of your situation and stop the chase. John DeWatt of Thinking Outside the Box Law Firm will help you end the feeling of being hunted by the IRS. If you've avoided taxes or could benefit from the life-saving assistance of bankruptcy, it's time you called John DeWatt. This is an attorney who's willing to take on the federal government on your behalf. He's worked to discharge thousands of dollars in penalties, and he can help you settle your debts once and for all. Call 888-777-4193. Stop being hunted down by the IRS. Let John DeWatt of Thinking Outside the Box Law Firm deal with the IRS personally. His proven system works. Call John today for your own relief plan, 888-777-4193, or online at thinkingoutsidetheboxlaw.com. That's thinkingoutsidetheboxlaw.com.
Remember when people used to wash stuff by hand, like clothes and dishes? Or how about this one? Remember when you had to wash your CPAP system by hand? Wait, you still wash your CPAP by hand? Boy, have we got to catch you up. Listen, SoClean.com has created the world's first and only automated CPAP cleaner and sanitizer. It's faster, more sanitary, and a heck of a lot easier than whatever you're doing. And for a limited time, you can try it at home risk-free for 30 days. You better get on this. Just call 1-800-551-8505. SoClean is completely automated and hands-free. It destroys 99.9% of all CPAP germs. Clean your CPAP system in minutes with no water or hassle. Talk about life-changing. Now, remember when you called for your in-home trial from SoClean.com? Wait, you still haven't called? Here's the number again. It's a limited-time offer, so don't wait. Call 1-800-551-8505. 1-800-551-8505.
For me, it was the big S-Class from the 90s. Beautiful. My friend's dad had one.
The SL. All of the SLs. I've been watching those since I was a kid.
I think the 1971 SC was the first Mercedes that just blew me away.
Everyone remembers the first time they saw one, and the day they began to long for a Mercedes-Benz of their own. Well, that day may be a lot closer than you think. With a certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz, you can experience the luxury, the unparalleled safety, the performance, and the style Mercedes-Benz is famous for at a price you can afford. Beautiful SUVs, sedans, coupes, and convertibles that are factory certified and covered by an unlimited mileage warranty for up to 3 years, so you can drive without a worry for as far as you like. And during the certified pre-owned sales event going on now through February 29th, you can receive 2 years of complimentary prepaid maintenance and special financing available through Mercedes-Benz Financial Services, only at your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer. You've waited long enough.
See your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer for complete details and limitations on certified pre-owned warranties.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues now, and make sure to stay tuned to catch me, Mike Gallagher, coming up at 9, only on AM 560, The Answer.
Sing it, Bruce. Oh, that's your voice, right? You on vocals? Do it. All right, so did you watch Saturday Night Live?
No.
What do you mean, no?
I watch
Wait,
every
how
few
old
episodes.
Are you?
I watch a few episodes. The thing on the Bassomatic that they had was fantastic. I love Belushi as the samurai warrior.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
What year is this? The best time to watch Saturday Night Live is right after a GOP debate.
Oh, yeah.
Because they bring back, the classics and, of course, Donald Trump.
The next question is for our front-runner, Donald Trump.
Thank you, Maria Tony Romo.
Okay. Mr. Trump, since the last debate, Ted Cruz has pulled ahead of you in Iowa. Is it true you've started attacking him because you see him as a threat?
Frankly, Maria, I'm glad everyone is talking about my good friend, Rafael Eduardo Cruz. People are coming up to me all the time saying, Donald, Ted Cruz was born in Canada. He can't be president. His campaign is illegal. Their words, not mine.
And, of course, Ted Cruz responded. I don't know who plays Ted Cruz, but not bad.
Donald, this debate about natural-born citizenship is just political nonsense. Clearly, I am not Canadian. Canadians are well-liked. I am not. Canadians are rugged and outdoorsy, where I myself am mostly made of pudding. Canadians are genuine and warm, whereas when I smile, it looks like I'm peeing.
You're not laughing at all.
Line. No, the last line was good. I was trying to figure out who's doing it. I think it's Charles Rocket who plays... oh, wait a minute. Somebody else.
Somebody else.
Ahead.
Yeah, Chris Christie. This is perfect because this is true. Listen to this.
All right, Governor Christie, if I ask you a question, do you promise not to turn your answer into a tirade against President Obama?
I promise.
How would you change the tax code?
Barack Obama is the worst president in history. And when Chris Christie is president, the first thing we will do is kick your rear end out of the White House, buddy.
Well, whoever is elected President Obama will be required to leave. It will be the end of his term.
Yeah, because I'm going to send him packing, so...
He'll already have packed and left because his term will be over.
That's true.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah, because he said that during the debate.
Yeah, he said we're going to get rid of Barack Obama.
Yeah, we're going to send him packing, and he'll be gone. And, of course, my favorite, whoever plays Ben Carson, God bless this man.
Dr. Carson, you've said we're not doing enough to dismantle and destroy ISIS. What would you do as president?
Well, whenever I think of ISIS, I get so furious. I just go into beast mode. Okay, look,
Okay, war has changed in the 6,000 years that the Earth has existed. Our enemies can now send an electromagnetic pulse into our exo-atmosphere, scrambling our electricity. I'm talking dirty bombs, cyber fights, laser people, and robotrons.
I think he actually slept through his brain surgery. He's that good. He was that good.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Attention market watchers. Until recently, the market hadn't seen back-to-back days of 500-point losses since November of 2008. What if you had no market exposure? What if you didn't have to worry about the markets? How would you sleep? Leave the volatility behind. Hi, this is Jack Taboda. Our proprietary income strategies provide reliable, inflation-protected income, guaranteed for life, with no market exposure. Call me at 630-777-7955. That's 630-777-7955. You've worked hard to build your wealth. I work hard to protect it. 630-777-7955.
Insurance products may be presented and guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the insurance company represented. Securities offered through ProEquities Inc., a registered broker-dealer and member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through Harvest Investment Services LLC, a registered investment advisor. Taboda and Associates and Harvest Investment Services LLC are independent of ProEquities Inc.
Congratulations, we did it. That's right. Because of your generosity and support of our annual Feed the Children campaign, we were able to reach our goal of feeding 18,000 children in and around Chicago this holiday season, real families with real needs that you help to meet. And we especially want to give a big fat thank you to our many business benefactors who've stepped up in a big way. Now, when you hear their commercials on this station in the coming months, well, we encourage you to support them as a way of saying thanks for their generosity. And just because we met our goal in 2015, that does not mean that the need has gone away. Hunger is still a real challenge for thousands of families and children in our area. So please continue to support Feed the Children with a tax-deductible gift of any amount at any time. Just go to feedthechildren.org. And thanks again from all of us here at AM 560, The Answer.
Now, more than ever, choosing a real estate agent to sell your home is one of the most important decisions you can make.
I'm Ed Lukasik Jr., owner of RE/MAX Professionals. I know what it takes to sell your home.
The Wall Street Journal ranked Ed at 88th in the entire country for closed listings.
I know that there's no gimmick to selling your home, just a strategic marketing plan and the confidence needed to make your transaction successful.
Chicago Agent Magazine recognized Ed as the #1 rank in Will County.
You can hire anybody to list your house, but you'll need the local market knowledge that I have to sell it.
When Ed saw market trends change, he was ready and promptly received a RE/MAX of Northern Illinois Trendsetter Award.
Sure, it takes awards, but it also takes a lot of effort. So why would you try to sell your home with a we'll sell your house or buy it from you kind of agent? If an agent has to promise to buy your listing, then something's seriously wrong.
Call Ed Lukasik Jr. of RE/MAX Professionals, 630-679-5454. That's 630-679-5454. Sell your house with the professionals, RE/MAX Professionals.
On January 29th.
This is the SEC. You want to walk on? We certainly won't stop you. There ain't no way you're ever going to play.
His life was the question.
He just might make it. Make it. I just hope he lives.
And trust was the answer.
You've got your butt kicked by a walk-off.
How bad do you want it? Brandon Burlsworth has become the greatest walk-on story in the history of college football.
Greater. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. In theaters January 29th.
Well, thank you so much for making us a part of your morning. Thanks to David Stripling, the technical producer, and Cesar Perez, our executive producer.
Shake and bake.
And to Bruce Wolf. We'll see you back here in a few days.
Yes.
But now let's go back into the newsroom and say hello once again to David Stewart, who's in for Mike Scott.
Thanks, Amy. Thanks, Bruce. A couple of the stories we're watching today. The Chicago area remains under a wintered wind chill advisory for the rest of the day, and police are looking for motives and suspects in the deaths of a teenage girl and a middle-aged man. Right now, though, Fox News on AM 560 WIND Chicago.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dan. Where are they? Who took them? Big questions in Iraq after 3 Americans went missing, believed kidnapped.
The working assumption, according to U.S. officials, that they were taken by some type of Shia militia and not ISIS. This is an area of Baghdad where ISIS, Sunni Arabs, would not be particularly.
All right, what should I tease for tomorrow? Can we have Tim Carney on tomorrow? Let's aim for him for 8.
For 8 o'clock?
Yeah, if we can get Sam Adam Jr. on at 6:35 tomorrow, that'd be great. Can you reach out to him?
Sam Adam Jr.?
Yeah, about
I had
Betty
I'm pretty sure
Jones. Yeah.
I love Sam is great.
Sam's
He's
great.
terrific.
We can talk and then about the city in general and Rahm Emanuel. I have a
You guys
financial.
mind, you about to say get a financial guy?
Yeah, at 7:35 tomorrow. I already have him lined up.
Okay. I gotta do a Shalom Klein monthly hit on our show sometime.
Why don't we do that one Friday?
Friday?
Yep.
Okay.
Friday at 8:35. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
I'll see you when you want, because I gotta do
Oh, look
this
at this! Look at this video. Holy cats! And oh, it's off already. Yeah, because the market's open tomorrow. We had a